banished from my own airwaves. And now you dare listen to my show. You are not prepared.
Dark were the skies and chill was the wind as the land was covered in a veil of malice. Across the hill did ride a dread army of the night, cloaked in mist and fog, prepared to rain down death and destruction upon the land. And the people did crowd for a savior, a noble soul to save them from their impending demise. Just as it seemed all was lost, in strode a mighty hero, clad in shimmering metal from head to toe. Wielding a terrible broadsword, he did cleave his foes in two, smashing their ranks asunder with righteous fury. And when the day was done and the enemy strode across the fields in pieces, the people did turn to the warrior and say, "We shall name this day in your honor. Speak unto us your wisdom." The warrior said one word that day: epic.
One man, one Murloc, one giant angry badger. This is Blue Please. It begins now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know what time it is? This is Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. Welcome to the show. Feels so good to be back. Really, really does. Okay, so I admit it. I'm a blazing hypocrite. What can I say? Get that out there right from the start. Blazing hypocrite. Blue Please will never come back on the air. All right. Yeah, right. She lied. She lied to us. I told you she'd never consciously betray the rebellion. Terminator, immediately. Right, okay. What have we got coming up on the show for you this week? All the old features. Those of you new to the show, Blue Please used to consist of me ranting for about 2 hours and 3 features. Rap in the forums. Yes, the pain and suffering returns. Nubcake News, the satirical look at the world of Warcraft, and of course, Ask the Murloc. Having returned from an epic journey in the 2-season-long Ask the Murloc improvisational radio play saga, try saying that after 3 pickled onions and a shot of whiskey. Yes, everything back, coming back on the air. 1.5 hours of chaos coming up right now. Coming up on the show this week, we have an epic giveaway. Yes. I did just say. You know it, you love it. Epic giveaway. It shall consist of such things as 2 Blizzard Burning Crusade Collector's Editions, European, and also a Turtle Mount card. 1 Standard Edition, EU, Burning Crusade, just in case any of you need an extra one. Or you need one for your second account, your brother, your sister, your mother, your dog. Anyone who wishes to play can do so. Also, I'm giving away a couple of limited edition WoW Radio Comedy Collection CDs, signed by the Murloc himself, limited edition, only 20 ever produced. And of course, a couple of WoW TCG starter boxes. All to give away over the next 2 shows. This is an epic questline, folks. There will be 5 questions spread over 2 shows. You must answer all of them in order to be eligible. I shall inform you of what those are just a little bit later on in the show. Now, what are we talking about this week? I have a variety of interesting topics. A little bit later on, I'm going to be discussing somewhat of a debacle that we've had with Blizzard Europe, of all people. And how we believe that they're not quite supporting their fan sites in the way they should be. We shall be revealing all a little bit later on in the show. However, first, the Stealth Reset. Talked about this a little while ago, actually, on Epic. The Stealth Reset. What's the Stealth Reset? Well, Myself and Kiki claimed that the Burning Crusade was a stealth reset in order to get everyone back to the same kind of power level.
What does the survey say about his power level?
The answer to that would be greens, level 60. So, just to what extent was that true? Because this was a prediction, some kind of prophecy, if you will. And we said we'd do this. Will the Burning Crusade be a stealth reset? And we argued yes, that it would be a stealth reset. Now the Burning Crusade is out, everyone's settled in, quite a few people are already at level 70, and of course, some guilds having already completed the epic 10-man Karazhan. Now the question is, just how much of a stealth reset was it? Or was it at all? As per usual with Blue Police, we'll be taking your opinions on the matter at themurloc@gmail.com. Email themurloc@gmail.com. Any opinions you have on the stealth reset, email themurloc@gmail.com. There is no K in Murloc. So, stealth reset. What are we looking at? Legacy raid dungeons, to begin with. There's your previous endgame, level 60. Anyone who reached level 60 and was wishing to progress into the endgame was going to Legacy raid dungeons. Zul'Gurub, Anchorage 20, Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, Anchorage 40, Naxxramas. That's where they were going. They were going there to collect epics, and some choice blues. That was where the gear came from. That was, of course, the endgame. Now, obsolete. Absolutely obsolete. Pretty much any hope of anyone going back into those instances at this point in time has been abolished. Reason? Well, you're devoting a lot of resources to relatively little gain. Now, best way to do it is to start from the beginning. Hellfire. Okay. You walk straight into Hellfire. Quest rewards. Let's have a look at some of the quest rewards from Hellfire, shall we? Does anyone remember a little green item called the Totemic Staff, available from the Moghar questline? The Totemic Staff. This is... trying to remember what it is, because I never used the thing. It was a hideous-looking device. However, it packed 80 spell damage and healing. And I believe 22 stamina and 22 intellect. That's a green quest item. Not difficult to acquire under any stretch of the imagination. That is, of course, by far better than the Staff of Dominance. It is also pretty much better than any other staff or weapon you can pick up from Zul'Gurub. Although not quite on the level of Staff of the Ruins from Anchorage 20. So, a green quest item, kicking the snot out of Tier 1 equivalency weapons. And there's more. There is more. If one were to, perhaps, walk over to a little instance called Hellfire Citadel, wander into the ramparts, what would you find? Many, many things, like the Hellsaw. Whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Is it the Hellweaver? I can't recall. It's a silly melee weapon. I don't do melee. It's for the peasants. Nasty, nasty weapon. What else have we got? For instance, quest reward, the Mantle of Magical Might, or the Pauldrons of Arcane Rage. Or Arcane Wrath, whichever I can't recall. I think it's Arcane Rage. By far better than both the Zul'Gurub Shoulders and Tier 1. Pretty much all cast the Tier 1. This kicks the snot out of it. That's available from the first boss of the first instance. I picked it up on my second run. I replaced my Zandalar Shoulders with it. Yeah? Zandalar Shoulders. Epic equivalency level item from Zul'Gurub. Acquirable via the collection of tokens and a rep grind to Honoured. Not too difficult, to be fair. You do have to go into the instance to actually get the drop and do a bit of grinding, but not too difficult to get. These things kick the snot out of them. There's not even a question about it. Arcanist Shoulders, often regarded to be an absolute joke by many people, and rightfully so. Also, absolutely splattered into oblivion by a level 60 drop from a 5-manable instance, which can be done in just over 30 minutes, if you have a good group. Bosses which are, quite frankly, not remotely difficult, despite the consistent whining of people over the big dragon that actually resides at the end of the instance. A mild distraction, if that. Anyone that's raided anything will be well aware that that is not difficult. Nor will it ever be. So what else are we looking at? There's an awful lot of gear available that pretty much makes that kind of thing obsolete. Okay, so based on that, in my honest opinion, as we thought might happen, Zul'Gurub, Molten Core, irrelevant. Obsolete, completely, totally gone. No one is ever going to go in there again. Unless they're doing an enchant run for Zul'Gurub, which is possible. But then again, you've got to bear in mind that if you get to level 70, there are better enchants available. Via relatively easy rep grinds. And that's fair enough. By level 70, you'd expect them to be. Thing is, what a waste of content, in my honest opinion. Yeah, Molten Core was pretty dull. Zul'Gurub, on the other hand, was pretty interesting. It wasn't a bad 20-man. It was a pretty good example of what they could do with a small-scale raid group. Let's go on a little bit. Blackwing Lair. What about your Blackwing Lair gear? When did that go obsolete? Bearing in mind, of course, that I'm taking this entirely from the perspective of a mage, because that's what I play. Blackwing Lair gear. Now, Claw of Chromagus, okay? A rather desirable drop from a certain boss known as Chromagus, surprisingly enough. Prized by shamans, warlocks, mages. It's a good caster dagger. The equivalent is available in the Underbog, a level 62 item called the Zangatooth Shortblade, which goes back a little bit to the famed Azure Song Mage Blade, outdone by the Spellfire Longsword, available in the Slave Pens, a level 62, 61-ish instance. Blue drop, first boss, if I recall correctly. Okay, so Claw of Chromagus, Zangatooth Shortblade, level 62, 63 item, equivalent. Arguably better, because it has plus hit on it. Now we continue. What about my tier 2? I have a few pieces of tier 2. I didn't actually have much of a chance to pick up a lot of this gear. I got a couple of pieces of Anchorage, 40 gear, piece of Nax gear, quite a lot of Blackwing Lair gear, and the rest of it is pretty much Molten Core and all that kind of thing. So, as far as my BWL tier 3, I replaced my gloves with level 62 BOE blue gloves, called the Gloves of Pandemonium. And as it happens, I actually haven't managed to find anything that can best the Gloves of Pandemonium yet. Even Tempest Touch, which is a level 66 quest item available from the Caverns of Time. Socketable, yes, but not as good as the Gloves of Pandemonium, which are now going on my server for 40 gold. Okay, so tier 2 gloves. Pretty much made obsolete by that. Helmet I haven't replaced yet. I admit, I have not replaced my helmet yet. The only reason I have not replaced my helmet yet is because it's got an enchant on it. Which was the reason I held back on replacing my Staff of Dominance. Yes, the stick of crap that it is. I would have replaced it with a Totemic Staff immediately, except it has an enchant on it, or had an enchant on it. And I'm not putting an enchant on a green. No way. I'm sorry, that's against all my sensibilities, as a raider and as a player. It's interesting. We can note that some of the items available are incredibly powerful, and yet some are not. The odd thing is, in my opinion, the way that that thing is distributed via quest rewards is very, very odd. I mean, how many of you can identify with this? Within the space of a day, I'd done quests to get me, I think, no less than 4 different rings, despite the fact that I couldn't use them. Also, it has to be said that they have not managed to fix the whole issue of, questline, massive long questline, 2 or 3 people. At the end of it, no caster gear, except for, you know, maybe some healing pants. A little bit of problems with item distribution there. You can also note that there's a heck of a lot of now, well, on the Horde side, Paladin gear available from quest rewards, obviously set up for the leveling Paladins. The problem is, of course, that takes up a slot that could be used by a more popular and widespread class. I mean, let me think. How many? I must have got about 4 rings. There must have been about 3 different necklaces as well. I only managed to find 1 chest piece that could replace what I was using at the time, the Robes of Volatile Power. That is a level 60 to 61 quest blue reward. I haven't found anything better than that in an instant since. Which is odd. It seems to be a little bit scatterbrained to me. Now, we can also go on to note that many stats have been made a lot cheaper. For instance, attack power for feral forms for druids. This was something that, in my opinion, needed to be actually dealt with. Because, of course, you don't take the weapon damage as your feral damage. That's not how it works as a feral druid, yeah? You take attack power, you take strength and stats bonuses to add to your base damage. Okay? That's what you need. That is what you require as a feral druid. Now, you've now got a lot of green items. Specifically, I recall getting a level 60 BOE green drop with 96 attack power and 62 stamina on it. A pretty hefty staff. I believe I sold that for 120 gold. Now, that is something which I believe should have been put in there, because that should have been in there from the start. Feral druids were always getting the shaft as far as gear went. You've got to bear that in mind. Okay? And that's fair enough. It's when you take the example of, say, cloth items with 69 stamina on it and nothing else, you wonder, well, how cheap has stamina got? The answer is very, very, very cheap indeed. Perfect example. Level 66 BOE quest reward. Battle Mage's Baton. Now, let's do a quick comparison before the music break between this and a rather popular staff called the Staff of Shadowflame. Now, the question is, can I even get on Wowhead in order to do this? Now, the Battle Mage Baton, if I recall, let's see what we got. Battle Mage, Battle Mage, Battle Mage. Come on, Wowhead, do me justice. Staff of Shadowflame. Right, the Battle Mage's Baton stat. 45 stamina, 31 intellect, 30 spell crit rating, 85 damage and healing. The Staff of Shadowflame, for some reason, is not on Wowhead. Yeah, I know it's all irrelevant now, we don't need this Blackwing layer gear, but still. Staff of Shadowflame. 24 stamina, 29 int, 18 spirit, 28 spell crit, 84 spell damage. Officially at level 66, worse than the Battle Mage's Baton. Rather desirable staff with a very low drop rate, at about 7.6% drop rate. Okay, so when you say the Staff of Shadowflame is made irrelevant by that point. Of course, it's not all because all these items have Imber stats on them. The way that they've now decided to scale crit rating means that they don't want you to use your old gear. It gets nerfed. Even my Fetish of the Sand Reaver, an aggro reduction trinket, got nerfed. In the sense of, every level I go up, it reduces the amount of aggro it reduces. Not a massive amount, admittedly. It's only 2% per level. It takes it down from 70 to 50. But it's still, it's a push. Push in the direction of, you shall not use your old gear under any circumstances whatsoever. Yeah? Which to some degree is fair enough. I know they want us to use the new stuff. But was it really necessary to completely destroy the old gear that way? Any opinions? Email themurloc@gmail.com. You're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. Many, many things to come up later in the show. Bit of Sonato Arctica coming up right now for your music break. This is Victoria's Secret. Enjoy.